we need filler. That's the fixtures.
Good evening and welcome to Stats Live Sports Roundup Show. I'm Connor Hutton.
And I'm Alex Hanna, and we will be bringing you full reaction to today's sports news and results.
In the Champions League tonight, Bayern Munich overcame Benfica 1-0 in the first leg of their quarter-final clash. Midfielder Arturo Vidal opened the scoring inside 2 minutes after heading home Juan Bonet's cross. Despite dominating for large spells of the game, Munich failed to extend their one-goal lead, but will still be confident of progression into the semi-finals when they visit Benfica for the second leg of the quarter-finals.
So Hayden, that Vidal goal came early. How important was that in the spectrum of the game?
Well, it was important to get a goal early because then you'd have thought Bayern Munich would go on and score more to really put the tie to bed in Munich. But it wasn't to be. Lewandowski had an off day, all the strikers had an off day. But luckily they did manage to get that early goal, but they couldn't capitalise on it.
Do you think 1-0 will be enough going away to Portugal?
It's risky, but luckily Benfica didn't get an away goal. And if you think Bayern Munich can get one more goal in Portugal, then yeah, it should be game over.
And Munich are looking quite strong. Would you make them favourites for the competition now?
Oh, there's a tough choice who's going to win it. Barcelona had a very good night as well tonight. They look sharp after coming from a goal down. You've also got Real Madrid still in the competition.
In the other big game in the Champions League tonight, current holders Barcelona run out 2-1 winners at home against Atletico Madrid. Fernando Torres put the visitors 1-0 up 25 minutes in after slotting home through ter Stegen's legs. The Spaniard was then sent off just before half-time for a second bookable offence. Barcelona came out strong in the second half, and leading goal scorer Luis Suarez drew the hosts level after steering Jordi Alba's effort into the net. Then with 15 minutes to go, Suarez secured the win, heading home for his second, leaving Barca in a good position for the second leg.
Alex, Atletico broke the deadlock early. They were looking pretty comfortable. But how big was that red card for Fernando Torres towards their downfall?
Definitely in the context of the game, it's massive. I mean, Atletico set up rigid and they're always hard to beat. They've got one of the best defence in the league in Spain, and they'll be really confident going to that second leg. They can nick a 1-0 and go through.
But Suarez obviously brought him back into the game tonight. How vital is he for this team that's full of world-class players?
Oh, he's huge. I mean, the front three in particular are fantastic. I mean, Suarez now has got 45 goals for the season, another 2 tonight, 8 in the Champions League. And going forward, I mean, no other team in the competition possesses such a talented front line, so they will be key in their pursuit of another Champions League.
And in the Champions League, we often speak about the away goal being so important when you go into these last stages of the tournament. Obviously, Atletico managed to get it tonight. Well, how big will that be for them going into the second leg?
Well, in this day and age, I always think that teams that can play well at home can often play well away as well. So I don't think Barca will be phased by going to Atletico. I mean, they've won the last 7 encounters now, including 3 at the Vicente Calderon. So I expect them to still advance, but given now that Atletico only need 1 goal to go through, it's possible.
But playing devil's advocate, let's say that Barcelona do hold on to their lead. What chances do you give them going on to win this trophy?
Well, obviously they lost the Clásico at the weekend, but I still, in a big game environment, I still can't see Real Madrid getting one over on them. So I'd think Bayern Munich potentially would be the only team that can stop them, but Pep Guardiola, I mean, they're not having the best time at the moment, are they?
OK, moving into the Football League roundup, Rangers have secured their return to Scottish football's top flight. Their 1-0 victory against Dumbarton was enough to secure the league title. The Glasgow side's promotion will see the return of the old firm next season in Scottish football's top flight. In England, several sides continued their fight for promotion. Middlesbrough's win see them move to within 1 point of table toppers Burnley, who could only manage a draw against playoff chasers Cardiff. Hull's chances were dealt a blow with a 4-0 defeat at Derby, whilst Brighton maintained their hopes with a 2-1 win against Birmingham. 5th place Sheffield Wednesday moved 5 points clear of 7th place Cardiff, and Ipswich could only manage a draw against Charlton. At the bottom of the table, MK Dons remain in the relegation zone after defeat to Wolves, and Fulham's away win against Preston moves them further away from the drop zone, thanks to a Moussa Dembele winner. Bolton remain at the foot of the table after defeat to Brentford, and Charlton occupy the other relegation spot.
We see there Bolton really struggling at the bottom. Hayden, do you think that is them gone now? Another heavy defeat?
Oh yeah, you'd have thought so. They've been struggling all season, and they just can't buy a point, to be honest. They've been struggling, financial problems as well. Yeah, it looks like they're gone.
And one of the big comebacks has been Rotherham under Neil Warnock. His Rotherham side remain unbeaten since he's taken charge. How massive an appointment is that for them?
It's been a terrific appointment, hasn't it? It's really turned their season around. Before that, they looked really doomed, but as soon as he's come in, he's really lifted the side. And yeah, they're pulling away now.
And tomorrow night we'll see Real Madrid and Wolfsburg clash in the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final at the Volkswagen Arena. Madrid previously beat AS Roma 4-0 on aggregate to progress into the last 16, whilst Wolfsburg overcame Belgian side Ghent with a 4-2 aggregate victory to book their place in tomorrow night's game. Elsewhere in the Champions League, Manchester City will be looking to upset the odds when they travel to Paris to face French giants PSG tomorrow. Man City made light work of Dynamo Kiev with a 3-1 aggregate win in the round of 16, whilst PSG knocked out Gus Hiddink's Chelsea side, beating them 4-2 after the two legs.
Twitter has been awarded the rights to broadcast live American football matches next season. It is reported the company will be paid $10 million for the rights to show 10 Thursday night games broadcasted by NBC and CBS.
We cross now to Josh Kingston, who has the best from social media today.
Thanks, guys. In boxing and ahead of his IBF World Heavyweight title clash with Charles Martin, Anthony Joshua seems to be in a buoyant mood. The 26-year-old tweeted today, "Never felt so good on a Tuesday, time to boss up." Meanwhile, Tyson Fury has been clashing with his fellow heavyweight as they exchanged pleasantries. Fury responded to Joshua's jibe with this tweet, "When Mr. Muscle gets busted on Saturday night, I'll be crying and I'll say another one, Knights of Dust. There goes another hyped up hashtag Bum City." Looking forward to tomorrow's Champions League games, and Gareth Bale has tweeted, "Landed in Germany and ready for the Champions League game against Wolfsburg." Bale is pictured here with his former Tottenham Hotspur teammate Luka Modric ahead of Real Madrid's quarter-final fixture. Meanwhile, the news of NFL's deal with Twitter has spread like wildfire, with musician Kevin Jonas reacting with "Congrats Twitter and the NFL streaming deal, big things." Finally, English hopeful Danny Willett has arrived at the Masters. He tweeted a photo arriving at the Augusta National Course. "We are here," he announced to his 27,500 followers. Back to the guys in the studio.
In golf, the first major of the year, the Masters gets underway at Augusta National later this week. Matt Adams has more from us.
National in fine form, the 80th Masters promises to be the best for many a year. As is tradition, the Par 3 Championship precedes the event on Wednesday, before past champions Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus get the tournament underway at 7:45 local time on Thursday morning. Reigning champion Jordan Spieth teams off at 9:48 alongside England's Paul Casey and US amateur champion Bryson DeChambeau, while three-time champion Phil Mickelson goes off at 10:43 with Open Championship runner-up Mark Leishman and Sweden's Henrik Stenson. In the afternoon groupings, world number 1 Jason Day plays alongside Matt Kuchar and Ernie Els at 1:06, while British interest is headed by Rory McIlroy, who if he wins this week will become the 6th player to have achieved the career Grand Slam. McIlroy tees off shortly after 2 o'clock alongside two-time major winner Martin Kaymer and American Bill Haas, while another notable grouping sees 2012 and 2014 champion Bubba Watson playing with Ryder Cup talisman Ian Poulter and South Africa's Brandon Grace.
Back to football. Chelsea FC have announced that Antonio Conte will become their first team head coach for the 16-17 season. Conte will be stepping down from his role as Italy manager after Euro 2016 before he heads to the Premier League club. Conte is set to replace Gus Hiddink ahead of the new campaign. However, his move to the London club could be in jeopardy after news has surfaced that the Italian prosecutor Roberto Di Martino wants to impose a 6-month suspended prison sentence and a fine on Conte over his alleged role in a match-fixing case. Martino was cited a match against Albino Lef, claiming Conte knew of match-fixing efforts. He requested the sentence and an €8,000 fine in a closed-doors hearing in Cremona on Tuesday. Conte's lawyer, Leonardo Camerata, said the defence is due to make its final statement to the court on April 11th, and a verdict is due mid-May. A Chelsea spokesman said that the club will not be commenting on the ongoing investigation.
Alex, I just want to ask you quickly. Chelsea have obviously had their ups and downs this season. Is Antonio Conte the right man to bring in next season and change things around?
Well, his record at Juventus speaks for itself. I mean, 3 Serie A titles in 3 years, and then moving on to Italy. It depends what he does with them over the summer, but I think it's a similar appointment to the one in Jose Mourinho, but we'll see how it goes in the end, won't we?
And if you look at their Chelsea squad right now, who do you think of the players maybe Antonio Conte would want to be moving out? Possibly who are the deadwood?
Well, I don't think he's deadwood, but Hazard hasn't been the best this season, has he? So with potential suitors aplenty for him, maybe he could move on in the summer, but I still think Chelsea want to hold on to him and keep him around.
And Hayden, what sort of targets do you think that he'll probably be targeting when he comes into the squad? Who would he want to bring in to shake things up?
Well, he's going to need world-class players like they did have, because the chairman's going to want European football back at that club as soon as possible. So money's going to be no object to Chelsea. You know that. It's never been for Roman Abramovich. You've got to look at the top players like Pogba, the players that he's worked with, Pogba in particular at Juventus. I think that's one to watch in this summer.
Okay, well, moving on to boxing now. Former British middleweight champion Nick Blackwell has woken from his medically induced coma following his fight with Chris Eubank Jr. last week. Blackwell suffered a bleed on the skull and had been recovering in hospital since the fight. Former WBO cruiserweight champion Johnny Nelson has applauded the officials and the medical staff who acted so quickly on the night, but he admitted that incidents like this are just part of the sport of boxing, and the boxers shouldn't fear injuring their opponents.
It's one of the mishaps in our game. Big up to the medical staff that were there to make sure they act fast. And that was down to the British Boxing Board of Control, making sure these things are covered. These are one of the pitfalls in our game. I thought the referee did a great job. I thought how it was handled was a great job. Remember, boxing, I think we're 9th in the most dangerous sports, and this was just one of those occasions where you know what can happen in the sport. But I'm so glad Nick's pulling through. He's talking to his family. I'm sure his family is so relieved. I'm sure Chris Jr. is so relieved. The boxing world is relieved as well, and I think he'll come round and I bet he'll even want to fight Saturday night. He'll be sat there watching thinking, I want to fight, but that's how it is. I personally think if you think too much about it, you will then think like a civilian and you better walk out of the game. You can't think like that, because if you do think like that, every time you hit somebody, every time you're hit, this is going to be a negative, what you don't need when you're fighting. You can't afford to think like that as a fighter. Junior can't afford to think like that as a fighter. All he can do is train hard just to make sure it doesn't happen to him. But he can't afford to think like a civilian, because if he starts thinking like that, he needs to walk away from the game. And I know it sounds barbaric, I know it sounds militant, but you can't think like that.
In cricket, county sides have been in action today against MCC University sides as they step up their preparations for the new season. Tom Blackburn has more.
There were 6 fixtures set to be played today. However, Durham were unable to play a single over on day 1 of their game against Durham MCCU. The North East side will hope for better weather over the next 2 days as they build towards their season opener against Somerset. Notts put out a strong side against Cambridge MCCU, and while England batsman James Taylor scored a disappointing 10, Notts have reached 530 for 8 overnight. Top performer for them was Ricky Wessels, who scored a quicker than runner ball 143 before retiring. The most notable score of the day saw Kent's Daniel Bow-Drummond score a double ton before his side reduced Loughborough MCCU for 2 for 2 when bad light stopped play.
The biggest horse racing race in the world takes place on Saturday at Aintree. Former race winner at Pinot du Rey is set to miss the year's race after being entered after all 40 spaces had been filled. The 2014 champion will need six later withdrawals before Saturday if he's to qualify for the £1 million race. At 13 years old, it's unlikely that the horse would provide much danger to the field, having only won 1 race out of 11 attempts since the Grand National success. And with jockey Leighton Aspel, who rode into glory that day riding last year, many clouds it seems as though missing out on the Cup may be for the best. That's all for you tonight. We'll just go back to the Championship earlier. We were speaking earlier, obviously, about the relegation battles. But, Alex, I want to speak to you about Middlesbrough's win. Obviously, they had a big 2-0 win over Huddersfield tonight. How big is that for their chase towards the title this year?
Well, obviously now a 3-0 win against Huddersfield brings them really close to hot on the heels of Burnley at the top, and they also have a game in hand. So I really think they are probably favourites for the title now, given their squad.
But Brighton as well, obviously, they kept themselves in the hunt for the automatic promotion with a victory as well tonight. What do you see for their chances?
a really hard-fought victory tonight at Birmingham City after they took the lead as well, incidentally. Connor Goldson, Lewis Dunk with the goals. I really think they could potentially challenge Burnley and Middlesbrough those top 2 spots.
Okay, well, thank you, Alex. That's all for us from tonight. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. I've been Connor Hutton.
And I've been Alex Hanna. It's been a pleasure.